tonight, eh?
Milo, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Button, and we are off to the races. So try saying something, and I can see. I have little graphs there and everything.
Saying a little something into the microphone.
Perfect. All right.
Do I sound okay?
You sound beautiful. That was perfect right there. Whatever you did there, that was perfect.
Yeah, good.
All right. So here we are. We're going to have a little show tonight. I'm with Andy Straightball Dorsch from Ripon, Wisconsin. And we're going to talk about, he just released a video, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about his new layout and his new train room. And Andy, I don't know how you feel about this, but I've thought about it a lot. And I thought, you know what? We might as well just tell people the truth. That we're at our favorite restaurant, at our favorite table in the corner in the back, with a candle burning on the table. And I've got my sunglasses on top of my hat. I see you're still got your Oakleys going there, but
right.
Anyways, I thought, you know what? There's no point in hiding it. We might as well just tell people where we are and that we're at our favorite table, at our favorite restaurant.
Yeah, I don't see any point in lying about it.
Exactly. And what's our favorite restaurant called in Ripon?
It's Roadhouse Pizza.
Roadhouse Pizza.
Yeah.
Good pizza.
Oh yeah, it's the best.
All right. And what else? Do they have anything else that they serve? Or is it just pizza? Pizza.
No, they got pizza, sandwiches, a lot of beer. So yeah, it's a good pizza / pub grub type place, and a lot of fun, and it's a nice atmosphere.
Right, and I see you're wearing your 557 hat, so we might as well get that out of the way because we want to talk about that a little bit.
That's right.
And you didn't get a chance to talk about Stuart before, but you met him at the first AML barbecue.
That's correct. Yeah.
And that sucked, didn't it?
Yeah, it certainly caught me off guard. I was at work when I found out about it, and I kind of had to walk away for a minute because even though we didn't spend a lot of time together, the time that we did spend together was pretty memorable. He's a guy that makes a lasting impression on you the minute you meet him, and it's certainly a positive experience. And caught me off guard. And
yeah. I didn't know how to tell people. I mean, it was like I was telling people on the, on Facebook Messenger and stuff, and I'm kind of like, like when I got the message, I was kind of like, really? And like you're thinking, as you're typing the message out, you're thinking, yeah, there's got to be a better way to do this than this, but.
Yeah, I think that's how we communicate now, unfortunately, and it's just getting the word out to the masses, and even if it's a shitty situation.
Yeah. You don't want to leave people out, and it's a fast way to get a hold of people, so get it out there and get it out and then go from there seems to be the hard part is the people as they see it coming at them. It's like getting hit by a fastball when you thought for sure the guy was throwing you down and away.
Yeah, you dug in and just take it right in the chin and
yeah. Go ahead.
Leave some lace marks on your chin. And
yeah. One of those classics where the guy just goes down like a stone,
Right.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, well, I thought you were throwing down and away. Apparently not.
Nope.
So anyways, that's great. We love Stuart, and we'll always love Stuart, and we've talked about him plenty. But I wanted to talk to you because the other day you did a layout update, video number 1.
That's right.
The very, very first CNNW Marsh Line layout update.
That's correct. We we've actually started construction, and my plan was with this layout was to kind of document it on YouTube. So getting my progress out there, and then also kind of doing some crowdsourcing to get feedback when I get stuck or want to try a best practice of sorts.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you and I both love social media. We talk about it a lot. And, imagine now that you can interact with people while you're building the layout, and you're doing people a favor by documenting it and letting them see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a little mini hobby as well for me. So it's a lot of fun to kind of produce the videos, but I like sharing, and if someone else can be inspired or can be can learn something from something that I'm doing, it means a lot to me too.
Yeah, like you're like me. You don't really care that much if people see your mistakes. And it's not that you're a particularly overly confident person. The fact that you make a mistake and people see it is not anything that really bothers you in any way. And you're thinking, well, I think that makes the ideal documentarian is you're prepared to let people see the good and the bad.
Yeah, right. And I try to put together the best videos that I can, but at the same time, I have to leave in that stuff. Otherwise, it's you don't learn from it, or you may miss an opportunity to learn from a comment from a viewer where they've may have experienced that same problem you have but overcome it.
Have you had any comments from your first video yet?
So this particular video, I've gotten something to the tune of, I don't know, maybe 20 comments on YouTube alone, and then wherever I post it, for example, if I share it on Facebook or other social media outlets, I've been getting comments there, and some good ideas, some creative ideas that I, haven't really thought about in terms of some of the issues that I'm coming up against.
And okay, so can we look at? I'm gonna open up YouTube right now. So what's the YouTube channel name?
It's just Andy Dorsch. It's
Okay.
real original.
Right.
Yep.
And it's Andy ADNY Dorsch DORSCH.
That's right.
If you put in Straightball, you probably won't get it.
Yeah, I don't think you will. No, Straightball won't come up.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm out looking at your channel now, and I was kind of a fan of the Muscooten Valley Railroad.
Yep.
So you abandoned that, which, to be completely honest with you, 100 years ago, I had a railroad with a completely different name, and I abandoned it. So now that you've abandoned it for, how long has it been since you decided you're going to build the Marsh Line?
Oh, let's see. A little over. It's almost coming up on a year. The Chicagoland RPM really was kind of the timestamp that kind of killed the Muscooten Valley. So it was a little over, almost going on. Oh, geez, it'll be almost a full year come October.
So what was it about the RPM meet that made you the guy? Like, was it that day? Did it happen over a week? Were you kind of like that afternoon? Was it kind of like, okay, I'm giving up? Like, what was it? Do you remember anything in particular about the RPM meet that got you worked up enough to just say, well, to heck with that, I'm going in a whole different direction?
Yeah, I think what it was is the research that the modelers used to not only create their models but their layouts, I think was a kind of a missing component in the Muscooten Valley. So the Muscooten Valley was great, because I could do whatever I wanted, and it was my own little world and a made-up railroad and a made-up time. But I think there's something to be said about that research aspect, and then trying to recreate, to the best of your ability, or in case my ability, a little bit of history and kind of put my own little artist rendition on it.
And we'll remind everybody that the Marsh Line was the railroad, the line that ran right behind your parents' place when you were growing up in Ripon.
Yeah, that's correct. So it was kind of um, it was kind of my first taste into trains and 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 essentially leading into my model railroading hobby. And it was a lot of good memories, and I think it's kind of almost nostalgic in a sense to kind of want to relive that again.
And so have you found like track? I know. So I know you had a Facebook group that helped you plan the layout.
Yep, that's right. We put together. We started out with only 5 or 6 members just to keep it small, but since then we've opened up the Facebook group to everybody, and anybody who wants to be or follow along through Facebook can do so.
Who are the 5 or 6? Because I know I was not allowed. I wasn't. It's not that I wasn't allowed. I didn't even get an invite.
No, you did not make the cut.
I feel
So
like
there was a short list,
right.
and you were just a little too tall for the short list.
Right. So would it be? Would it be like the Olympic hockey team, and I was one of the, I'm a player I'm a player, like I'm in the league and I'm a player, but we're putting together the Olympic team, and like only 22 guys can be on the roster, and you got down to the final 6, and it's like, I'm sorry guys, it's just you're not going to make it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Cut day came, and you were the second goalie, so
I was the third goalie.
the third goalie.
I was the third goon. Well, that's like I read 100 years ago. Or no, I watched a movie, maybe it was a TV movie or something, 20 years ago about Vince Lombardi.
Okay.
And in the heyday in the 60s, and one of the parts was he had this one guy that was whatever year it was, some year in the 60s, and he had this one guy that they had, drafted out of college, and they were surprised that he couldn't, whatever position he was playing, he was either receiver or linebacker or something. And anyways, they were surprised that he was more incapable than they had expected.
A real master in futility.
Yeah, so basically what had happened was I think he was a receiver or a running back. I think he was a running back or a fullback or something. And basically what happened was they told the guys that were supposed to tackle him to let him break a few runs or catch a few balls and to see if he, like, what the problem was. They were trying to determine why it was that Steve or Jeff or whatever his name was, who, came out of Iowa State, couldn't do what he was supposed to do. So they let him catch a few balls or break a few runs. So then that night, he says to his girlfriend, we're doing a lot better, or his wife. So then they go out and buy a house. And then 2 days later, they cut the guy. Because he couldn't figure, he couldn't figure out. So it was kind of like that thing, wasn't it? I was almost there.
Yeah, I don't know how to.
Yeah, you're not even.
I don't even know how to say this.
Herb Brooks, you're Herb Brooks. I wasn't even almost there. Now I'm really starting to feel. Yeah. Now I'm really starting to question my.
I'm Herb Brooks in you right now.
Yeah. Okay,
no,
so
he would have just told you straight away.
Yeah, he would have said, no, you're not making it. So yeah, how many people? Okay, you got 180. No, is that still your? Okay, it's called the CNW Marshline is your subdivision, is your Facebook group.
Yep, that's right.
And there's 186 people on it now.
Is that wow?
And how come it says okay, if you go look at your page and see if we're looking at the same thing.
Yeah.
And it says group by Muscooten Valley Railroad.
Yeah, it's just I link the two together.
Okay.
So that way, if anyone who is a fan of the Muscooten Valley, they could tag along to the Marshline sub.
Oh, all right. So is that right? You have 186 people like this now? Am I reading?
No, I think this group particularly only has 78 members.
There you go. Yeah, okay, yeah.
My Muscooten Valley has 186 likes to the page. So, so just kind of maximizing the traffic to,
right,
keep in touch with everyone.
So there's 108 people that really don't want to. They feel put off now, and they don't want to tag along on the. I'm going to try to. It's a closed group. Why do you have it closed?
Um, I have it closed just to kind of, I guess, monitor the membership, and then to kind of also prevent cross posting. So some people are sharing pictures or things that they did, and then some people may take that and just cross post it to other sites. So it kind of limits that. And then just kind of, it really creates a nice little group where people can just kind of say whatever they want or do whatever they want in there. So
Okay,
as long
so
as it's March line related, of course.
see if this statement is true. We spend one of our life's goals is for Lionel to understand everything that you're talking about and learn as much about social media as we can because you know more about it than I do. So what I don't quite follow the cross posting thing.
So, for example, if I see something, let's say on I don't know, a group that's open, for example, or that's not set to closed, I could then share that in another group. So, like sometimes you'll see someone will share something to a group or try to post something to a group, and then the attachment comes up not available, or
Oh,
it's just
okay.
the link doesn't work. That's because they're trying to take information from a closed group and bring it to another group. So you either have to duplicate the content and then reshare it, or have your group be open so you can just share from group to group.
So if I applied to be in the Marshline subdivision group and I was successful in my application, and
Right.
then I saw something that you posted, I couldn't take that and post it on the Modeler's Life page.
You couldn't know. So the only people that would be able to see it were the folks who followed both the Marshline and the Modeler's Life.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure I agree with that, but that's just seems to be a common way of doing it. The whole closed
Yeah,
group thing.
Chris Atkins. He's a guy that I think we talked about it once before, and he had a really good way of putting it, better than I do. I'm pretty sure. So I
Okay.
might defer to his expertise.
All right. But you don't remember what that was.
No, I don't. Of
Okay.
course not.
Of course not.
Of
Okay,
course
so
not.
here's the discussion I want to have. I actually wanted to try to keep this to 30 minutes because I've discovered here's the problem I'm having with the podcast, and it's a huge problem. It is a massive, massive problem that's rearing its ugly head in all sorts of forms. It is really easy to record stuff. Like I could get on here and talk to you for an hour, and it wouldn't be hard to do it all because number one, we like each other, we're pals, it's easy to talk to each other, and it would be easy to chew up an hour. But the
Yes, it
problem
would.
is, when I chew up an hour with Andy, that's pretty much a whole show, and I can do 2 shows a week. I can do Monday and Tuesday, no problem. That I discovered. But this summer it was busy, and I discovered it was hard to do that third show a week. So if I sit here and chew up an hour and 15 minutes with you, that's a whole show. And there's all kinds of people to talk to. Like I want to talk to Kaylee Zhang again and Bob Sprague and Chris Adams. And
Oh
there are
yeah.
so many people, and you'd like to hear them.
Yes.
And there's so many people to talk to that I don't know how to make the time for everybody. So it's, and the problem is the family of AML grows bigger and bigger. And it's like, this is just turning into this is like the Blob. And this I feel like Steve McQueen in the Blob. The thing is just growing and growing, and I can't stop it.
Oh man.
So let's get right to the meat of the subject. When I was watching your video, your most recent video, the Marshline update layout update number 1. I'll go back there
Yep.
and see if I can get it right. Yep, layout update number 1. I really like that. Your what do you call that? Masthead for the video. I like that. The green
Thanks.
and yellow and all that stuff. I think it's really cool. You were talking about your ceiling,
Yes.
and I was watching it, and I felt like I have things to say about that
Excellent. I'd love to hear those things.
because I was thinking it's really because you're building like the bench work is beautiful. You've had so much experience building layouts. This is going to be a top drawer layout. I just have that sense. I have the sense that you've dug in now. You know which direction you're going. There'll be changes for sure, but this is a layout that's gonna be there for a while. You want to get it to a point where there's lots of good videos, there's lots of good photos. I feel like now you've really dug in. You really you're in your second or third year in the league, and you know what pitches to expect, and you have a lot more confidence.
That's right.
So you were talking about the ceiling, and I was looking around the room, and I was thinking that's an interesting problem. Because how tall is the ceiling?
So the ceiling is 84 inches above, or from floor to joist. So I have 84 inches to play with. That's 7 feet.
Right. And somewhere in there, there's parts of the furnace are they hanging below that?
Yes. So I have ductwork that is anywhere. It's fairly condensed to one part, and I've engineered the layout so there's only a little bit of the layout you would have to duck, or that would come into play.
So what are your thoughts right at this moment after you've had some comments, you've made the video?
Yeah, so I've gotten a couple of the two comments that I'm leaning towards right now is you can just paint the rafters or the joists and the ceiling piece all white or black. You can paint the ducting white and paint all the the hardware and all that stuff. All that, the wires and stuff. You can paint all that white or black. And then a second piece was there was someone it was Jason Hetke actually called me to tell me that there's a product called Ceiling Max, which is basically a drop ceiling that you do not have to, I guess, recess, or you can put it right up tight against the joists, and the panels will come out with it.
Really?
And they'll drop out. Yes. Yeah. So it's for people like who are in my situation where you don't have a lot of play, but you want to have some sort of finished basement, and or maximize your height.
Yeah,
your
yeah. Because 84 inches is 7 feet.
Yeah, it's 7 feet.
And where the ductwork is, how what's your clearance at that point?
So I'm 5'8", and I can walk under it, and I don't hit my head.
All right, so not a lot of clearance.
No, so it's 68 inches.
All right, how tall? Is it exact? 68 inches is 5 feet 8.
That's correct.
So is it like right at? It comes down that low to 5 feet 8?
Yeah, in the spots it does. Yeah.
All right. How do you paint ductwork? Like what kind of paint would you use for that?
Well, you can just prime it, and you can either spray it with like a primer and then go over it with latex paint, or
Right. So
one of those options.
Right. And would you do that? Like that's what I wanted to say was, by the looks of your benchwork, it's going to be a quality layout. And I know you're like the house you live in is like 100-year-old house or something, right?
Yeah, it was built in the 1880s.
Okay. And what's that like? What's that like living in an old house? Is it like has the people over the years modernized it enough that there isn't a ton of work to do, or?
Yeah, pretty much. So, I mean, the sticks, like the trusses and all the framing and stuff like that, that's still like full dimensional. So it's a 2x4 is a 2-inch by 4-inch board. So that, and the 2x6s are 2 inches by 6 inches. So it's old lumber, but it's still in good shape. The foundation is what they call a fieldstone basement.
Yeah.
Which is basically just a bunch of rocks mortared together. But what they did is they finished it, or they did a thing called tuck pointing, where they basically made it a smooth wall.
Okay.
So it's nice and painted, and the floor's partially painted, but the walls are in good shape. It doesn't it doesn't leak. The
Right.
sump pump system works. So, it's modernized enough to that effect.
Yeah, and you like the house, and you don't want to have. You don't like the thought of moving to another house because of a model railroad is not any kind of a consideration.
Correct. So I've had discussions with the wife about either relocating or building new, and right now we've just renovated this house, and I think she really likes it now since I put that laundry room in,
Right.
and that's all completed and done. So she's kind of settled in now.
How long you live there?
Um, we're going on 6 years.
Okay, and the layout you built, the layout you were building before, it was in more of a finished room, wasn't it?
That's right. So the basement itself has a handful of rooms in it. I have a full bathroom down here with shower, toilet, sink, and all that. So if you get too excited while you're running trains, you can go hose down. And then I have a storage room, and then I had a 11 by 16 kind of like a rec room or a man cave
Right.
that I used as a layout room.
And now, and I see you got the layouts built around the. So that furnace kind of looks like the furnace from Christmas Story.
Yeah, it's a brute. So our house is a 2-story. I don't know, 2,200 or 2,300 square feet. So it's a big old house, an old farmhouse. So it's got that old octopus style,
Right.
furnace in it. So the plan is to put layout all around that, so you really wouldn't see that. So I'd have backdrop and valance kind of hiding all that.
Okay, so you're thinking of doing valance regardless of what you can do with the ceiling, or?
Yeah, I want to have something in there just to finish it off. I want it to have a good kind of almost like a shadow box type finish.
Yeah. And is there where could somebody see the plan of the layout?
You could I posted a video a couple let's see, it was about a month ago, called Track Plan and History of the C&W Marsh Line.
Right.
And then I also have a website. I believe it's cnwmarshlinesub.com.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go there right now. This is where we always run into trouble, as you're familiar with. It's when I start trying to work the internet, work the Google on the internet. So CNW.
Yep. Marshline. MARSHLINE SUB or sub.com.
All right. CNWmarshlinesub.com. All right. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Wow, I got it.
Hey, you're in the front row.
Beauties.
Yeah.
There's the track plan. All right.
Yes.
So what did you use to build your website?
I used WordPress.
Okay, wow. So cause you're a kind of a computer guy, aren't you? You know all that stuff.
Yeah, I do.
I find WordPress to be one of those things where it's like me saying to somebody about podcasting, oh yeah, all you do is get a microphone and then just record a few things and publish it, and away you go.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah, and there's a little bit more to it than that. Not a lot, but it's like it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Right.
And that's what I find WordPress to be. Oh yeah, all you do is, and it's like, nah, it's a little more complicated than that. All right, so it's 20. Is the layout size really 24 by 40?
Yeah. I finally put a tape to it to get a real dimension, and it's 24 by 40. I think my house is only maybe 30 feet wide.
Okay.
But it's something like 60 feet long. So it's like Chris Atkins's section house.
And when you built remember I remember saying to you, keep it simple.
Yep.
And do you feel like you did that, or?
So I think I pulled out a lot of complexity from the first track plan that I showed you.
Right.
And kind of made it basically 3 layouts. So this is not going to be something that I'm going to get done in a year.
Okay.
So but I'm going to kind of build one section of it at a time. So the first level, I'm going to put that all together first, naturally. And then I think I want to also do some level of scenicking, and then also kind of get a few operation activities under my belt as well. Just because, I want to see if the lowest level that I've built actually is going to work the way we think it's supposed to work.
Okay, so the first level is 34 inches from the floor.
Yep.
This level contains Fond du Lac and Scott Street, the Chicago Northwestern part of the shop yard. Okay, so you're going to try to get that done to some level of finished, and then move on from there.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So then the second part of the first level gets into more of the shelf type layout.
And when do you think you're going to try to do something with the ceiling?
I'm going to do the ceiling right now. So I want the room finished before I start getting really into the construction of the layout, because, just having that creature comfort of the ceiling being done, it kind of takes the dungeon approach or the dungeon appearance away from it and makes it a nice place, and makes it a place you want to hang out and kind of, spend your free time in. So I think if I get that done, I won't make a mess of the stuff that I've put together already, and just kind of, I think it's the first step to having a good layout.
Yeah, and in that, did you get new glasses?
No, I've had these. My contacts are bothering me today, so I pulled these out of my head.
Because in the video you had glasses on instead of. So I thought, are those new glasses?
No, I just having a bad contact day.
Okay, and did you get your eyebrows done?
I did. Yeah.
Really? Eh?
Thanks for noticing.
So
you're the first person to notice.
Perfect. So the thing I wanted to be was positive. I felt like I was watching your video. This is one of the reasons I like talking to you, because I feel like I don't have to censor myself when I'm talking to you. I feel like you and I are kind of tuned to the same radio frequency. I feel like I wanted to be positive when I was talking to you. And then I was going to just call you up or just get a hold of you and start Skyping with you. And then I thought, well, that's kind of pointless. Considering I have a podcast, I might as well just record it.
Meisel.
Yeah, Meisel. And I felt like I wanted to be, when I was watching you on the video, I felt like I want to be positive, because it seemed like to me you were, disappointed is not the right word, but concerned about the ceiling in your layout room.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. And I felt like, I could tell that the bench work and everything, I felt like this is a particular situation where you're in a century-old house. You have to work with what you got, because your wife and your son are happy with the house. Your wife is happy with the house. You're happy with the house. You're on a couple 100 acres there?
I think about a half acre.
Okay, I knew it was something like that. I wasn't that far off. And I felt like, okay, the look on your face to me seemed to be not one of concern, but one of you'd really like this to work out.
That's right.
And when I was watching it, I thought, man, I want to say something positive. And I felt like what I wanted to say was, I wouldn't be too terribly concerned about the ceiling in your particular case, because everybody will understand the house that you're living in. The basement is in good shape. You've put a lot of effort into it. So I think you need to, even if all you decided to do was paint the ceiling, I think that would be enough in your particular case.
Okay.
I think you need to concentrate on the positives of people realize you're in an older home. It's a very nice older home. You're the kind of guy that you're the typical American, speaking as a Canadian, but you're typical American boy that's You just strike me as, yeah, this is the kind of guy I want coaching my son's little league team.
Yep. Yep. Right.
And maybe not my son's hockey team, but definitely my son's little league team.
Right.
And I just thought, you know what, I want to be positive and give some sort of positive feedback. Like we talk about this all the time. How cool is it that you posted that video? We hadn't necessarily talked that much since the barbecue. We'd stayed in touch, messaging back and forth. We know each other is right there if we wanted to talk. And
Right.
I felt like when I saw the video, I thought, man, I really want to say something positive.
Yeah.
And the sense that I got was, like I said, the home you've chosen is a century-old home. It's a beautiful home. This is the layout space you have to work on. You understand what building a quality layout is. So I think you need to try to get it into your head that people are going to understand the surround. They're going to be more interested in the layout because the surroundings are going to be as good as you can make them based on the situation.
Sure.
Does that make any sense?
No, it's actually, it's a really good point. One of my viewers made a very similar point. They said that, the trains and the rest of the layout will probably distract from the ceiling enough that you won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think painting it would be a good idea. I'm not really keen on black. I think white would be nicer, or some sort of dark Pullman green or something like that. I'm not a big fan of painting it black.
Sure.
Maybe a dark color, but even probably not. I don't know. Would white work?
So I've seen a layout in my similar situation. I believe it's the Wausau Model Railroad Club. They're in an old building similar to mine, and they painted their ceiling white, and it really brightened the space.
Yes.
And it made it happy. And I'm leaning towards painting it white.
Yep.
And the beauty is, if I paint it white and I'm not happy with it, I think I can add like that ceiling max,
Right.
after the fact. So if I paint it, which I have tons and tons of ceiling white paint here at my house and some primer, I'm really not out anything if I try the paint first.
Yeah. And
And
if you do it now before you really do anything on the layout other than the bench work, then you don't have to be so careful as there's drops come down or whatever.
that's right. Right. That's my plan.
Yeah, I think that's something I would I was lucky that way because, like I've told the story before, it's got to be 30 years ago, maybe 35 years ago. I went to some convention outside in Detroit, and we went to this guy's house, and his layout room was just beautiful. It was as nice as any rec room I'd been in. And I thought, man, that's what I'm going to do. And when I built this house, I just had the whole room finished completely, just like a rec room. And it was always fun to be in. And that's what you wanted. And that's, it's the same thing. People are going to, if you paint the ceiling white and you keep the room clean, I would say that would be a big thing. In your particular case, you can't allow where the layout is to become too junky.
Right.
Because that would, you know how people will get where there's just stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Like, it's very hard to keep a layout room clean because people have a tendency to throw stuff in there. But I would say that would be a key, too. Paint the ceiling white. Try to keep the layout space as neat as possible. Maybe build a couple of wheeled carts or something like that where you can... Like, that's not hard enough to do. That's what I had, is I had a couple of cheap, wheeled carts where I could just kind of pile everything on these carts and push them out of the way.
That's what I've built one already. So my modeling workbench is on wheels.
Right.
And then I stow everything else away.
And I saw go ahead.
I got junk laying around down there now, but
well, sure.
But that's just because I was working on it.
So how hard is it going to be to paint it?
I don't know. It depends if I spray it or if I like use a roller.
Yeah, spraying would be easy. Do you think you can do that without covering everything in white?
Um, I don't really know. I've never used a sprayer. I've always used a roller. So it's like, well, this is going to be an adventure and everyone gets to come along for the ride.
I know, exactly. Like that is really cool about doing the videos. I mean, like we talk about, like, man, you should even just when you're doing the spraying or the painting, have the camera rolling and throw a few seconds, 60 seconds into that because
Yeah,
what people don't understand, it's like I'm always saying to Tom Jacobs. I mean, he's building this beautiful mushroom layout. It's like people want to see that. You connect with people.
right,
Go back.
right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then people connect and they kind of see my personality come out a little bit, and especially if they catch me spray painting or roller painting, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a pretty raw moment.
Well, the only reason I'm laughing is because I'm basically a klutz. Like everything I do, I take into account how much of it I'm going to have to redo.
Yep, yep, yeah. That's pretty much it.
It's like I don't do anything where something else doesn't need to be done.
Right.
And I replaced the shocks on the back of my Harley, and I scratched the fender, or mostly the one I remember the most was I was replacing the shocks on the back of my Harley, and then I dropped one and dented the muffler. Like,
Oh,
it's a given.
yep.
So then I'm trying to cover up the dented muffler, and then you learn how to suck dents out of mufflers. It's like it just is.
It's an ongoing
It's
process.
an ongoing process. My most recent endeavor in that was I got a new car last fall when my son sold my other car when he was working for the Hyundai place, and I was on one of my trips across the border, and I pulled up too close to the cross the border shack, the guard shack, and as I'm pulling away, I hit some post or something, and of course the guy's killing himself laughing, but not he's not laughing out loud, but he's got that glint in his eye, like what a what a douche nozzle this guy is. And, and I look up at him and I say, "How bad is it?" And he looks back at me and he goes, "It's repairable."
Yeah, nice.
Like I don't even want to get out of the car and look at it. So long story short, in the plastic bumper, I managed to put some scrapes into it that were down to the white. The car is this, platinum something or other.
Right.
And so there was, I would say, a 1 foot by 8 inch area that had these white scratches in it because it dug into the paint and went into the plastic bumper. So we have a really good. So I thought, I got a buddy that does auto body work. He owns an auto shop, and he's worked with my business for 30 years, and I know I can take it in there. And for a couple of $100, he'll fix it all. But it's like, I got to drop the car off and everything like that. And, I go on YouTube and I'm thinking, I can fix this. When I was a kid, I fixed all this kind of stuff. And so anyways, there's an auto body supply place in town that has everything. So I go in there and I say to the lady, I got some scratches in the bumper. And I said, I need to put in some filler, on all that. I said, can you sell me some filler? And she says, well, how deep is it? And I said, well, I don't know. This was the embarrassing part. I don't mind admitting this was the embarrassing part. Because I had, raced local stock cars and,
Right.
had my own little hot rod and everything, but I hadn't done much for the last many years except work on my bikes and that. So she says, well, I said, you can come out and look at it. Well, she comes out and looks at it and goes, oh, well, you can sand that down and just spray some primer on it. And I said, really? And she says, oh, yeah, it's not too deep. I said, what kind of, and of course she's describing, she's telling me the grit that I need. Now I'm thinking,
Right.
I should know, Lionel, you should know all this. You shouldn't even be asking this lady. You should be just going in there and saying, give me some 240 grit sandpaper and some gray primer, but no, I'm getting the whole, the whole lesson about how to do this. Her name was Martha, and She basically led me by the hand through the whole process. So, and nowadays, what they do is like they even make. So I go to the Hyundai place to see about paint, and this very same auto body place, you just tell them the color of the paint, and they make spray bombs to match the color of your paint.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I know, and I haven't. This is my first exposure to that because I haven't done anything in 10, 15 years, and I'm like, really? She says, oh yeah. I says, how long does that take? She says, I'll come back in a half an hour.
Yeah.
So they made me a spray bomb, right? So I sand the whole thing down. Tape it all off. Very proud of myself. I'm taping it all off, and it's a throwback to the old days, and I'm having a ball. I'm out in my backyard. I can fix this. I don't need to get, Robert's Collision to do this. I can do all this myself. And I'm having a ball doing the whole thing. And I prime it, and then I take that, and then I wait for it to dry, and then I tape it up again, and I take the spray bomb, and I'm spraying away, and it's like, it's beautiful. And I'm thinking, I fixed this all myself. It's beautiful. And I go out the next morning, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to throw another quick coat on this, and it's going to be gorgeous. So I grab the spray bomb off the desk, give it a quick spray, hit the nozzle, and it's the gray primer.
Oh, good.
So now I have a 4 or 5 inch streak of gray primer over what I'd already done. So now I'm back to taping it up, and it's like, but that's just, like we said, it's you do one job and you create 2 more.
Yep. That's the process.
Yeah, that's the process. So yes, so I'm very excited about being positive about your space, because I saw it and I thought, there's no reason to get yourself worked up into a lather about having to create a big thing. Like if you just paint it, I think and if you plan on putting up a valance, I think the layout will. I don't think anybody will care if it's painted. I don't think anybody's going to care.
No, I think that was the thing, is that I think I just wanted to paint it. I just got a comment on the video from Joe Cummings, oddly enough, from the AML fame.
Right.
I'll read it on the air here if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
He says, I'd say paint the ceiling white. Painting it black will make the ceiling, quote unquote, disappear, which is fine. Until that time, you lose track of all that ductwork, and then you smash your noggin. Don't ask me how I know that. White will keep the overhead hazards on your mental radar and will also augment your ambient light. My 2 cents.
That's very good.
Joe.
Boston Joe.
Boston Joe. I might take his advice. I've been getting a lot of good feedback on this video from a lot of viewers, and I think paint it white is going to be the first step.
Yeah, and I see Ron Marsh. He commented on it.
Yeah.
Love that Marsh line, he says.
Yeah, he thinks I named it after him.
Well, is there any harm in letting them continue to think that?
No, I think it's a nice little game we can play.
Yeah. So Ron, yes, he actually did name it after you.
Yep.
He says what I did was paint the floor joists and ductwork black. Oh, that's
yep.
Then I used handy shop lights over the layout with a crafted valance. He's got a beautiful layout in behind where he stands for doing his videos.
Yeah, he's got a really nice layout.
He does. And him and I have been talking a lot lately. Not that I don't want to talk to you, but not that to be completely honest, when I was cut out of the layout process for a month or 2 there, I was pretty, to heck with you. I don't need you anymore. I'll go find other friends.
Yeah, I can see how you'd feel that way.
Yeah. But yeah, he's got a beautiful layout in the background there. And it's the same basic process. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch you build the layout. I really hope you stick with doing the videos. And I like how the last one was 5 minutes. I don't think videos need to be very long.
Yeah, so these these layout updates are going to be in the 5 to 10 minute range. And then I'll have my bigger content ones where like I'll demonstrate how I build a model or something like that. Those will be a once a month type thing, but you'll get a layout update hopefully every week now.
Okay, and does it take you long to do the editing for the video?
I can get it. I'm down to about a half hour now for a 5 to 10 minute video.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I really worked on my process over the summer and kind of, setting up how to shoot it and what I need to take and then what content I want to leave in and have all these little systems in place. So it's just a half hour to 45-minute process and out it goes.
And I was telling you before we started, we're using some new recording software for this, so you may or may not be listening to this.
Perfect.
It says we're recording, and it also says we've been recording for 51 minutes. So that whole discussion we had at the start about trying to keep it to 30 minutes, I pretty much threw the towel in on that about 9 minutes ago. Because it's just there's no point, and I don't know what's wrong with me. When I get talking to people, I can't stop, and I always seem to have another question. And now I have another question. It's another whole subject altogether, but I think I have two questions. Number one, when we turned on the software, we could see each other. We had our cameras on. And,
That's right.
And in the background, I saw like a black backdrop, and it looked like some photo equipment. What was happening there?
So that's my makeshift studio for my modeling build videos that I'm doing.
Okay, and are you working on a video right now, or?
I am. I've started building my first quote unquote craftsman structure kit.
Okay.
It was supposed to be for that NMRA contest build that they did on social media last year, but life got in the way and I just couldn't get around to building it. So I'm building it now and documenting the process. So kind of using some neat techniques on painting and stuff like that, and then building a little diorama for it. So,
and I was going to, and you went to, you most recently went to NMRA meet.
That's right. Our division, the Winnebago Land Division meet in Pickett, Wisconsin, which was about, 3 miles away from my house. So it's pretty close. And it was a good time. So,
and Mike Ostertag seemed to be very excited about it. Like he said, like there was some big news from it. Was there? Or?
Yeah, he won the photo contest.
Yes. So
he's 2 for 2 now, coming home with the hardware.
Yeah.
For the NMRA contest. So he's pretty excited. His pictures were outstanding. Just to, not to inflate his ego or anything, but
be careful
they were really, really good.
And he had that one photo where his locomotive was on a bridge.
Yeah, and it was a silhouette of the locomotive and bridge on the river.
So I was very confused by that because he took the photo, but he was also operating the locomotive.
He might have been operating it. I don't know.
I found I found that whole thing to be very confusing.
I was a bit concerned that he might be cited for cheating on that one because it's like playing, pitching against the slugger who's been taking steroids.
Right.
He's hitting it out of the park if he gets a hold of it.
Mark McGuire.
Yeah, there's kind of a little Mark McGuire going on here.
Yeah.
Not saying that he's taking performance and railroad enhancing drugs or anything like that. We don't. He's REDs.
Yeah, so that's what we've uncovered is the Spoon Ostertag is on the roids so that he can take better railroad photography, do better railroad photography.
REDs.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be confused on that one for a while because I don't understand how he took the photo of the locomotive he was operating.
Unless it was stopped on the bridge for some reason.
And then he got off it, then walked along the bridge. There's something you're not telling me. This whole thing is
I think he took it from the locomotive. So I think that bridge is 90 some feet above the river.
Right.
and the sun was behind him, and it cast a shadow on the river.
Oh, I get it.
And,
Okay, that's
and so
very
he
cool.
was, I think he was operating the locomotive when he took the picture.
Oh, okay. So I didn't see it that closely. So it was a picture of of the shadow of the bridge and the locomotive.
Yeah, it was a silhouette on the river.
Okay. So that confuses me even more. Right now, he's listening to that while he's driving or he's working at his workbench. So this confuses me even more. I've asked him on numerous occasions, can he take a picture standing in front of his Jeep 38? And there's like no way he can do that. But while he's cascading across this bridge at 30 or 40 miles an hour, he's snapping photos of himself.
Well, I don't see. That's the thing. I don't know if it was just sitting there. I don't know. But the picture it is there, and it's.
It's
I
a
mean,
beautiful.
it's beautiful, regardless. So
Exactly. You realize if we had both been the same age, your mother wouldn't have let you hang around with me when you were kids, right?
yeah, that's right. That's right.
How does Kristen feel about this whole thing?
She's okay with it. Keeps me out of her hair, so she gets to do her hobby now. So,
but she's concerned about you associating with me, isn't she?
I don't think so.
No? Oh, okay, that's good. That makes me feel good because she seems very responsible.
She is very responsible. Yes.
And I make responsible people nervous.
Though she works with, so this is going to sound terrible when it comes out of my mouth, but she works with people who are mentally disabled, or
Okay.
so she's used to us.
Did you see that video? Oh, I got to put that video somewhere. I saw somebody in one of our friends today posted a video of these guys. It was what guys do when women are around. It was these guys made a video. The guy was using a pool noodle that he was using as a fishing rod.
Oh God.
And his buddy was in the pool bouncing around like he was on the line, and he was like a bass trying to reel him in, and they eventually reel him into the side of the pool / boat, and he flops up on the deck, and then the two guys pick him up. It was hilarious. I showed it to my friend Barb and to my wife, and neither one of them laughed at all.
Yeah.
It was a guy thing.
Yeah. I think that is a guy thing.
The second thing I was going to talk to you about was, let's see, I talked to you about what you were the photo backdrop. So do you use that room that you were using for the layout? Is that kind of like your workshop now?
Yeah. It's right now it's my workshop. My workbench is actually going to be set up underneath the layout. So it's in place where it's going to be, and the layout will be above it. But then this will be kind of like my backdrop to my videos once I get a layout in here.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That'd be cool. I'm very, my message here was, don't overthink it. Don't feel like, I want you to feel very positive about what you're doing, because everybody will understand, okay, this is where Andy lives. This is the space he had to build the layout in. And if you concentrate on building a quality layout, nobody's going to notice the ceiling one way or the other. And,
right.
And if you paint it, it'll keep the dust down.
Right. That's the other thing, is that I wanted to make sure that it kept it clean down here.
And the other thing, too, I was going to tell you about that is whenever I would leave my layout for long, extended periods of time, like very often in the summer, I wouldn't work or do anything with it from middle of May till the beginning of September, so a good 3.5 months. I would just get like cheap, the thin plastic sheeting you get at Lowe's that you use for covering the floor when you're painting.
Yeah.
And I would just pin it up on the layout, and it would take me all of 25 minutes to cover the whole layout. And then when I went back 3.5 months later, nothing was dusty. There was no accumulation of dust or anything.
Oh, it's great advice.
Yeah, but then I didn't do it. Then I didn't do it one year, and that's when I ran into problems. But I was ready. I was ready to take the layout out, anyways. And now I have the podcast. All right, we killed an hour. I think we're going to stop at an hour. This is not a half an hour, but I can still add something else to this. So we will use this podcast as. Do you think 2 hours or an hour? And like usually the podcasts seem to be about an hour and 40 minutes to 2 hours. Does that seem too long?
I don't think so. So how I listen to it generally is on the way in to work and on the way home from work. And when you get out of the car, you're done listening to it or what have you, and you can pick it up at any time. So I don't think length is an issue. I think it's just the amount of content, so I think that's what people really look forward to, in my opinion, is the length is, I don't think it matters. I think people just want to keep talking about trains.
Yeah, I think people really like, I really have a sense of, and of course, this is right now, we're recording this just very shortly after our friend Stuart passed away. But as I said in the video, the podcast I did about him, is like, he was one of the first people, actually you were too, but he was one of the first people, actually in your particular case, it was you when you were in front of the A&W and you were in Ripon, Wisconsin, and you got your mother-in-law to stand in front of the A&W with you. Like it was those things, and it was Stuart that was driving through the night in Alaska. And you make that connection, you suddenly realize, holy moly, like people are paying attention to this. And it's the same thing, for like, I really hope you stick to doing these short videos that you can get out for people, because people actually, that was the last subject I wanted to touch on. And don't be surprised if we're still here an hour from now, because this is my favorite subject. This is my absolute favorite subject about the new world and model railroading. I mean, how connected are we now? And everybody makes these, there's so many people making these YouTube videos and spreading the wealth and spreading the information. We know what I say all the time, that I think the hobby's going to explode because of the ability we have to connect with each other. And here it is, like, I think it's really, really important that you continue to make these short videos about progress, because people actually look forward to it. It's like it's a big deal to people, and it's like, it's hard for us to realize that it is a big deal to people, but it is. It's really hard. It's something that people connect to, and you got to give hats off to Joe Fugate, because he's managed to harness this new powerful social media.
Mm-hmm.
And White River Productions, they seem to understand it, and I'm fascinated by, like, your video that you posted 2 days ago. Like, this is the discussion that we've had. This is the discussion that excites me the most about the new social media and what we're doing for the hobby, or what the hobby's going to have happen to it. Is in 2 days, your video's been viewed 317 times.
That's right.
Now, 317 sounds like a low number when what we've been exposed to forever and ever is, Seinfeld was watched by 8.2 million viewers.
Right.
But what we don't realize is, for those 317 views, it was impactful to those people.
That's right.
So the people you're touching, you're actually making a real difference to. So to use in my particular case, I have the Patreon channel, which has like 140 people on it. And I've said over and over again, that doesn't sound like a lot of people, but if you did a clinic anywhere, at a division meet, at a regional meet, or a national, and you had 140 people in the room, you'd be thrilled. You would think the whole driving the 10 hours to wherever you went was completely worthwhile, because that many people saw your clinic.
Yeah, right.
So I'm very, very. So it's like, do you get that sense? Did any of that make sense to you?
No, I think about it quite often, because I like to, I'm always a person who likes to continuously improve. And I come back and think about it and say, okay, well, this video's got 300 views, and 298 of them are mine. But ultimately, if you were to, I reflect on that and say, okay, that's this got out to 300 people, and then I look at some of the data behind it, and more than half of them watched it all the way through.
Yeah.
You know, like this video did surprisingly well in terms of, you know, viewer duration. I think you can just watch it on my graphs that they have up for their analytics, and I have 61% of my viewers make it to minute 4 of a 5-minute video.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
You know, so they're sticking through this one and watching it, and you know, and it means that I'm communicating with people and hopefully giving some sort of value, you know, for their time.
Yeah, you're giving some sort of value and you're making an impact. And what we can't measure right now, right today, is where is this going to be in a year from now or 2 years from now? Because all this is connecting everybody together.
Right.
And how do you see the analytics? I know I've done it, but how do you see the analytics? I forget.
So I have in YouTube, you can look at your own channel analytics. If you're in YouTube, and there's that little icon in the upper right hand corner, and then there's a thing called I want to say it's Creator Studio.
Oh yes. Okay, I'm going to go to my page and we're going to walk through this because there's going to be somebody. Okay, so I'm on my home of my page.
Right. So one of the key things that I look at in terms of a video is audience retention.
Right.
So I were to, let's say we'll just look at this particular video for the marsh line, this last one. And then on the overview tab, if you scroll down, there's a piece of it there. Here, it's under interest viewers, and I missed it. It's right at the top of the page where it says average view duration.
Oh, okay.
And then you can click on that. So you can see how long people are making it in your videos.
Okay, so in my particular mine, they're lasting 18. Can you go back to my page?
Yeah, I'm looking at yours right now.
So it says average view duration is 18
minutes
and 46 seconds.
Yeah. So what that means is that they're getting through 18 minutes of the podcast before they stop listening to it.
So that's a bad thing.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, from YouTube's vantage point, if you're holding a person's attention for 18 minutes, that's 18 minutes that person is in the YouTube universe.
Okay.
So that's 18 minutes that they can be subject to advertising. That's 18 minutes that they, you know, can go and click on other videos, that type of thing. So from a YouTube perspective, that's positive. And you can see you have an arrow indicating that number is up 73%. So you're moving in the right direction according to YouTube.
Okay.
So that is a positive thing. If you scroll down.
Okay, so top videos now. It says, the top video right now is Rob Arsenault, episode 106. And it says 1.3K. What does that mean? So
that's how much watch time is on that video or that podcast. So over 1,300 minutes people have watched on that. So let's say it's, you know, 60 minutes long. That's quite a few views. What that equates to. Okay.
So should I expect that any day now, YouTube will be knocking on my door saying you're one of our top guys and we're gonna please come out to Silicon Valley and we're gonna make you a star?
No.
Oh. Geez, I really had, for a minute there, I had really built myself up.
Yeah, I'll just give it to you straight. No. I think basically there's a partnership program that's out there, and I think you have to have over 10,000 or some odd hours minutes of watch time.
Right.
And then YouTube comes knocking on your door and says, hey, let's work together to make your channel even better.
Okay. How do you change the picture?
So that's linked to your Google profile.
I don't understand Google. I don't understand the Google profile at all. Yeah, I'm going to have you walk me through that one day.
Sure.
I don't. You know what? I was trying to equate. I had a really good. I had a really good example of where I fit in the world of computing and doing stuff. And I'm trying to think, what was that example? It was something like, I'm the kind of guy that knows just enough that it seems like I know what I'm doing, when in reality I have no idea what I'm doing. It's like you're in the, oh my God, the captain has collapsed. The co-pilot is so sick that he can't fly the plane. Can anybody back here fly the plane and land the 737? And then somebody goes, yeah, I saw that guy playing video. I saw that guy watching the movie Airplane.
Ted Stryker.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like Ted Stryker. It's like, no, I don't really have any idea. No, we know that you like, and they would come and quiz me like, what's that little room at the front of the plane? Well, that's the cockpit. You're the guy.
Yep, that's it.
All right. Well, we had fun doing that. Okay, how much time have we killed now? Geez, an hour and 17 minutes. This whole podcasting thing is a complete and total disaster.
And that's why we tune in.
Yeah, it is. It is like the worst idea I ever had, and it's the best idea I ever had, because it's like because the problem is I like talking to people.
Yeah.
We haven't talked for a while. It's fun for us to talk together. It's really easy to record it and make a podcast. It's not that hard to edit, because now when I get around to doing this one, and I hope to do it sometime in October, early November, I will have either been walking around the block listening to it, driving around town listening to it. So the listening to it and making a few notes to edit that whole part where we were trying to figure out YouTube, there's going to be some heavy editing in there.
Sweet.
Yeah. But basically, I enjoy listening. So it's like, I enjoy it. Like, I could talk to somebody every other night and go, great, tomorrow I have something to listen to. But the problem is the problem is the hours just keep piling up, and it's like a wreck. You know what it's like? This podcast is like a wreck on a bad snowstorm in Wisconsin on interstate. What interstate runs through Wisconsin?
94.
94. You're on Interstate 94, and you're watching a guy is on the bridge, and he's videotaping a crash, and it's just like one car cars just keep sliding in and into this massive pileup. That's what this podcast is. It's a massive pileup on the local interstate.
Yes.
Each podcast just keeps sliding into the pile, and it's kind of like, how we're going to need 100 tow trucks to clean this up. The highway is now closed.
And you just wonder, well, why don't they just stop?
Yeah, why don't they just stop? Why slow down? Why don't you just stop? Yeah.
But the thing is they don't look away.
No, exactly. And like every fourth guy or fifth guy is that guy that was looking far enough ahead that he could at least ditch it.
Yeah, right. And those are entertaining on their own right.
Yeah. What a mess. All right. Well, I guess we'll call it a night here. You gotta get what time it's 9:30 your time, 10:30 my time. You get up every day what time are you getting up tomorrow?
4:45.
Why do you get up at 4:45? What is wrong with you?
So between 4:45 and 6 is my time. So that's when I get my working on the layout and my modeling stuff done. Or I go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and you haven't been doing that for a while, have you?
I was there today.
That was rude, and I apologize.
No, that's all right.
Do you want me to start sending you triple XL AML shirts?
No. I almost snuck back down to XL.
Oh, really?
For a couple weeks there, and then I went on vacation and stopped going to the gym with a vengeance, and now I'm back up to full double XL.
I know, yeah. It's like the other day I posted on my page I was looking for a snack and like right on schedule, the little girl came by selling Girl Guide cookies,
Yeah.
and it's like, how much are they? $5 a box. How many boxes you got left? 3. No problem.
Yep.
Like I
Thank
was,
you.
yeah, thank you. And I was actually had a couple of days where I wasn't consuming everything, every piece of food in the house. All right, an hour and 21 minutes. Give me a break, Andy. Come on. You know what? We'll throw in a Kelly questions or one of those interviews from Kansas City in with this.
Okay.
All right. I got a new. You want to do the? Do you know how to do the email address?
Sure.
Go for it.
It's modelerslife@gmail.com. That's modelers with one L like Marshline, not 2 L's like Lionel.
Beautiful. And we have a website called themodelerslife.com. Do you ever go there?
I do go there.
Okay, cool.
There's some interesting things on that website.
I know, like this podcast, if I had some help, this podcast would be spectacular. I love the talking part. I don't mind the editing part. And from there, it kind of deteriorates into trying to keep up.
Right.
But I like it all, but it's just, there's some parts you like more than others.
That's right.
And we have a website, amodelerslife.com. And you know what? While we're talking, can you go to amodelerslife.com for me? Because I have a new way to end the podcast.
Ooh.
So go to amodelerslife.com and then just scroll down a little bit.
Okay. Scrolling down a little bit.
Just below where you see iTunes and YouTube and tune in, and then you see the Facebook link and Patreon link.
Ooh. A modeler's life is rated marginally adequate by 6 out of 10 doctors. That's great. That's outstanding.
Yeah, I think that's the best we'll ever be able to do. I'm hoping I've talked to the National Orthodontic Society and hoping to get a better rating from them, but we'll see.
Oh, that'll be like pulling teeth.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby.
And we're back. So we ended the other show. So Andy, I'm back here with Andy Dorsch, and we were talking to him for like an hour and 10 minutes. And we ended the show. He gave out the email address. We talked about what was it? We talked about right at the end there. It made me laugh. Oh yeah, the podcast. I'm hoping to get the podcast endorsed by the Orthodontic Association. And you said it was like pulling teeth. Yeah. And then and this podcast is going to be broadcast almost basically within like a few weeks of when it was made, because then we were talking about how you were going to paint your ceiling. And then you posted on the Marshline page.
That's right.
Very, very shortly after we finished the podcast about painting the ceiling. And it was like, it doesn't look like he's happy.
Oh, no.
It looked like you were like, let me see that post. I'm going to find that post. It's not that far back. Because you did another layout. Oh, yeah. And you did another video, which I really, really liked. Where's that? Where was that? Oh, there it is. So on September 28th, you posted, got a section of 2 foot by 8 foot. What is that? Kilz.
Kilz is a special primer. It kind of is a stain blocker and then a sealer all in one. So it's I like to use it because if you have like dark things that you're trying to paint light, it does a nice job as being an undercoat for that.
I want to paint my garage floor. Here's a story. I actually painted my entire garage floor, but I am really lazy. And I always think there's a faster and not better way, but there's always a shortcut. And I thought, okay, I'll sweep the floor, make sure there's no dirt on the floor, and I'll just, put all this cement paint on. And basically the entire thing over a period of 12 months completely flaked off the floor because I didn't use this stuff where you're supposed to wash the floor or something first.
Oh, yeah.
So
probably supposed to etch it with like muriatic acid or something like that.
Yeah, and it was just some special thing, and I didn't do it. So if I Kilz Kilz or Z-E-D, Kilzed.
Yeah, Kilz is a verb that I made up. Kilz is the actual product. Kilz.
Oh,
It's an acrylic-based primer.
I wonder if that would work on my garage floor.
Not sure.
All right, you are. I'm worried about you, little buddy. I feel like I'm the skipper, and you're Gilligan.
I'm Gilligan.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense.
I think I just insulted you.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, you're tired, and I was worried about you, little buddy. Anyways, okay. So so then very quickly after we finished our first part of this podcast, which was going to be 30 minutes, then turned into about an hour and 15. And very quickly, on the day or two or three later, you posted this picture about how you used Kilz stuff on the Kilz. And then right after that, you used a word that sounds like, when you tuck in your pants. And you seem very, very annoyed by the whole situation. So I thought, how cool is this? We talk about it, then you try something, and now we can talk about the results. Keeping in mind this is a family show.
Certainly. I'll keep the tuck words to a minimum.
Yeah, keep the tuck words to a minimum. So it didn't go very well?
I started painting the ceiling with a roller, and that didn't go very well because there's nails coming through the floorboards,
right?
From the hardwood floors up above. So it tore the rollers up pretty good. So then I downgraded to a 3-inch paintbrush, and that is a process all on its own, but there's so much stuff to paint around up in the joists, such as wires and nails, and then there's the joist braces, and it's really becoming a slow, frustrating process. And the first results weren't desirable. And I understand that it's primer and all that, but there was a lot of swearing and splattering of paint and not a lot of coverage. So I put about 4 or 5 hours into getting a 6 foot by 6 foot section of the basement ceiling painted, and the particular room that I'm trying to paint is 11 by 19. So by my calculation, I'll be done painting the ceiling in about 2024.
So, and then there's some comments. The only thing I'm thinking you might have to I don't want to give you assignments that perhaps you don't really want to accept, but I'm a little disappointed by Kathy Lemke, who's the official mother-in-law of the ML network. Her comment was, drop ceilings are a pain in the ass to install. I was a little, the word isn't, I was taken back that I thought, I always imagined Kathy to be much more angelic. So that
No. So she's a tell you how it is kind of person.
Right.
So I think that's why her and I get along famously. But she'll tell it to you straight, and yeah, and that's appreciated because
yeah,
no sense in beating around the bush here.
So now, and also she has a large gun too, doesn't she go deer hunting?
Yeah, so she's a avid deer hunter, and she's quite a good shot. I think in the past 5 years, she's killed 4 deer and spent 4 bullets, so she doesn't miss.
So I should probably just give her a wide berth then.
Yeah, stay out of sight.
So now what?
Well, so we're looking at ways to speed up the process. So I did manage to get a second coat on a 4-foot area of the 6-foot area that I primed, and after all is said and done, it does look good to have the paint up there. So now it's just kind of thinking about how a guy can speed up the process. So I'm either gonna spray it on, either go and buy one of those cheap like Wagner sprayers or something, those
Yeah.
electric dealies that you only get like 2 uses out of before it's shot anyway. Thinking about probably going with one of those, just as because I do like the way it looks when it's painted, and it'll save me the hassle of trying to put in a false ceiling or
Yeah.
one of those tile ceilings, just in the event that I have to move wires around or move plumbing or stuff like that.
Well, and I think, I'm looking at it here, and I think just the simplicity of the fact that it's white and it looks like somebody's gone to the effort of doing something with the ceiling is all you need above your layout. I think it actually is going to make quite a difference.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think I mentioned earlier in the podcast about how I went to the Wausau Club for my NMRA division meet back in the springtime, and the Wausau Club was in the basement of this old historic residence, and they couldn't add a false ceiling in, but they could paint the joists and stuff, and they painted it white, and it looked really good, and it's kind of what kind of gave me the idea to paint mine white. Plus, it kind of goes with the whole farmhouse motif, I guess, if you want to get all fancy about it, and kind of makes it look like I planned it.
Didn't he play seriously though? Did he not play for the Dodgers in 57, 58? Actually, and then he went to the Indians and came back. Motif.
Yeah, motif. Yeah, it was TEF, something like that.
Yeah. Hell of a.
Yeah.
He was a hell of a. He had the best on base percentage by getting hit by a pitch. Yeah.
Right. I mean, if he was down 2 strikes, he would lean right into it.
Yeah, he was stepping into it. So if you spray and you use like an acrylic, really, I guess you don't have to worry about fumes too much, do you?
No, this Kilz stuff is pretty, I guess, I'll use the word innocuous, but it's not potent at all. You could, pretty much drink the stuff, though I wouldn't recommend that. But it's non-toxic.
Isn't there what do you call those, when you have innocuous and it's you can get it at the restaurant and it's deep fried? No, I'm thinking of something else. There you go. Man, can you imagine how good this podcast would be if I could get through one sentence without coming up with innocuous?
Yeah, and motif.
Yeah, I know, exactly. All right, so you're going to spray it. Well, and then you said you're going to get cheap sprayer. Don't get too cheap of a sprayer, or else the thing will crap out on you before you get like 2/3 of the way done. And then you'll be going snaky trying to get that working.
Yeah, because basically what I want to do is shorten how much time I'm spending painting and get back to the bench work piece of it, because I'll be honest, I'm really excited to kind of move forward with that, and I'm going to do a little experimentation with a multi-deck design, and I think I got it engineered pretty well, so kind of looking forward to getting that part of the project moving.
Well, as an old guy, I think I'm about 30 years older than you. How old are you now? 37?
I'm 37.
Yeah, so I'm almost 30 years older than you. As an old guy, and having been 37 once, get that job done right, because even though it's going to take you a bit of time, you're going to be awfully happy if you don't have to go back to it.
The painting, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suck it up, but do it right and get it over with.
Well, it's kind of my MO anyway, so.
All right. And do you think you still paint the ductwork too?
Yeah, I think I do. just in the one room. Actually, yeah. As I look at it, I'd probably paint the pipes and the ductwork and all that too.
All right. So where we're going to leave off is you're going to go buy a sprayer. I'm hoping it's not too cheap of a one because it'll just drive you nuts before you get done. And you might be.
Yeah. Have you used one before?
Well, yeah. I haven't used one of those sprayers, but I've used, I don't know, after 60 plus years on this planet, if I've learned one thing about working on anything is get the right tool and just get it over with, because
Sure.
cheap tools are just like slowly drive you nuts. They do.
Sure.
Cheap tools are exactly what they are, cheap tools.
Right.
Okay. And the other thing we're going to talk about quickly is your latest video update number 2, I believe it was.
Okay.
Is that it?
It was for the build that I just did.
Yeah.
For that little feed mill by railroadkits.com.
Yes, I love that
Yeah.
video. That was awesome. It was very watchable.
Thank you.
It was, how long was it? It was like 5 minutes long.
10, I think.
All right.
So
10.
you didn't even know it was 10 minutes long.
Exactly. I can hear myself now. How come? I wonder. It doesn't matter. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I liked how you did it and narrated it in behind.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of the technique that I'm going with for any of my modeling videos that I put out, because to kind of talk and model at the same time is, I don't know, to me it just doesn't seem to really work out. And Bob Ross, when he did painting, he could do it, and I think he was probably the only one on the planet that could actually do something and then keep an audience engaged while he was doing it. But a lot of times when you're modeling, it takes so much concentration, you kind of trail off, or you lose your train of thought and stop talking, and then it's just bad video.
Yeah.
So to come back in behind it with a narration, it seems to hold everyone's attention a little longer, and then I can have good commentary as it almost like calling a baseball game as it unfolds in front of you.
Exactly. My son, who's hilarious. My son is absolutely one of the funniest guys I've ever met. And he does all these things that he does this great impersonation of Will Ferrell. What's the guy from Saturday Night Live? Is it Will Ferrell? The tall guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
The tall guy.
Yeah. He used to do he did an impersonation of Harry Carey.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So my son does an impression of Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey, and to the point, he does it so well to the point he got sick of me asking him to do it again.
Oh, it's such a funny sketch too when he does it.
I know. Hey, do you like hot dogs?
I sure do.
Yeah.
I like to wash it down with a Budweiser after I'm done.
Yeah. And anyways, what I'm leading up to is, I'm not sure why my son got involved, other than when you did this voiceover, you have this, I don't think you mind discussing behind the scenes. Like, we love talking about this stuff, so we can do it in public, can't we?
We certainly can. There's no secrets here.
No secrets here. You have your voice. Did you ever see the show, the Red Green Show?
Yes. I watched it quite a bit when I was a kid, and I still watch the reruns today.
Yes, and they have Adventures with Bill.
That's right. Yep.
And actually, the guy that plays Bill is a personal friend of mine. What's that? Rick Green. Rick Green.
Rick Green.
Rick Green.
Right.
And he's a good friend of mine. And Steve, whatever the Red Greens, whoever played Red Green, Steve, I can't remember his last name. Yes, Steve Smith. He would do the behind the, and it was like that, because a couple of times you were pointed out all the couple of the fumbles and tumbles you did, and I was like, I loved it. I'm thinking, oh my God, Andy, this is it. You have found the thing that is going to separate you from everybody else.
That's That was exactly what I was going for. It was actually kind of copied after the red green narration of Adventures with Bill.
Yes.
It's model railroading Adventures with Andy.
Yes, exactly. And you have, and because we're good friends, I can say this. It won't come out right, but you'll understand what I'm saying. You have the right cadence in your voice where it sounds like, you know how Red Green sounded like, well, he'd narrate it, but he really had no idea what was going on. And the only reason he was narrating it was because he was out of beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. Sure, I like Bill and I'll narrate it, but if something else comes along, if I get a fresh case of beer, I'm out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right.
And that's exactly right. That's exactly how you sound. You have the perfect cadence for you're talking along and I don't know whatever the first thing was that happened, and I'm just like I'm almost on the floor, and and it's like it was perfect. So keep it up.
I will. And you can't take yourself too serious when you're doing this stuff, and I mean it's all fun, right? So.
I think that's the secret to our podcast is. I really, truly believe, I think I said it a few months ago, I think what this podcast is, it tells people you can have fun while you're model railroading.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a hobby, and it's like we don't have to be serious. The whole point is to have fun. All right. So we've done 20 minutes. I'm going to let you go. You've decided to continue on with the painting.
Yeah, just going to go with the simple solution. If it turns out like crap, then we'll put in a ceiling.
I don't think it's going to turn out like crap, do you? I mean, from that one photo, I don't think that's crap. I think you're on your way, buddy. I think you got it covered. It's just going to be tedious.
Yes. I think spraying will help a lot.
Spraying will help a lot. You'll get a lot of the easy parts done quickly.
Yeah.
Where there's nothing in the way, you'll get a lot of that done really fast.
Right.
And then there'll be a lot of parts that are harder to do where you can get some of it sprayed. And then you're going to have to probably go around with a brush and do some of the more difficult parts. But I bet you spraying is going to get you 70 to 80% of it done pretty quickly.
That's what I'm hoping.
I would say so. Like in this, do you have that picture that I'm looking at in front of you?
I do.
Yeah. So there's a wire there, and you got a little bit of it unpainted. And was that just hard to get at or something?
Yeah, that's actually painted now.
Okay.
So it's all white now.
Is it going to be 2 coats?
Yeah, we're not leaving it looking like that. It's actually gonna be 2 coats of Kilz, and then I also have a bunch of like ceiling flat or ceiling white that I had from when we renovated the house.
Right.
That I could use for it. So I might even put 3 coats on, really do a good job, and then that way I never have to go back and do it again.
That is the key. Do it once, get it over with. You'll never have to go back again.
Right, and if it means that I have to take a little extra time and not do some of the fun stuff right now, then so be it. But it'll just make it that much easier when I move forward down the line.
Yeah, exactly. Like it'll be over with, and you won't have to. And it already, just from that one coat, I think it's gonna look great. Like I think you've found it. I think you do that, and I think you can be really happy with the layout room like that. I really do.
Yeah. And then I'm going to put some padded carpet squares down, ones that I can pull up in the event that they ever get wet or anything like that. And then that way you'll have kind of a finished room.
Yeah. Or yes, do that too. Yeah, that'll be nice. You're on your way, buddy. You are on your way. This is going to be great. And now we have let's see how much I think we got just over an hour and a half. It's beautiful.
Nice.
This is, and I am going to broadcast this on either. Let me get my phone out. For an old guy, I'm pretty hip with the technology.
You are. You're one of the good ones.
It's either going to be broadcast. This will either be broadcast on the 22nd of October, or the 29th
Nice.
of October on the
Ooh, Halloween.
on the free side.
Really?
Yeah, this is a free side one. This is the world is going to find out about Andy and his tribulations.
That's awesome.
I know. I think each one of the free ones is getting listened to by a couple 3,000 people or more. I don't know, maybe 10,000 people. I have zero
A lot
idea.
of people.
A lot of people are listening to it. Like a lot of people are listening. Like it's easily September we had over 10,000 downloads. We're getting a lot of people listening. So it's going to go on the free side on either October 22nd or 29th. Let me get the thing out here again. My recording software. We've done 23 minutes. We gave out the email address in the first half of our show.
That's right.
A Modeler's Life. That's modeler'slife@gmail.com. That's modelers with one L like a ginger ale, not two L's like Cadillac.
Awesome.
Yes, and we have our Facebook site, and it's our Facebook, our website, amodeler'slife.com. Go there, you'll find links to the Facebook page, where to download it. Our Patreon page, if you want to, if you cannot get enough of us, you can pony up $5 a month and listen to even more of us. And
It's totally worth it, by the way.
totally. And let's make sure we plug one more time all your stuff, because you've got a website and you've got your Facebook page. So your Facebook, that's the only thing. I don't agree with your Facebook page being closed. I don't understand it. So therefore, as an old guy, I don't agree with it.
Okay.
I'm
Noted.
Yeah. I'm not sure what people are afraid of.
I'm not sure either. I guess, to be 100% honest with you, I have no real good reason to have it as a closed group. There's nothing that can't be publicly shared. It's, everyone in the group is, awesome with, forthcoming with information and sharing. It's a good group of people that are in there. So yeah, maybe I'll just open it up.
I think in general, in general, man, that was a lot of whining, because I thought this is going to extend it again, but people are going to really like this podcast. In general, I think there are a few bad apples in the hobby, but in general, such a high percentage of the people are only interested in being modelers and being pleasant with each other. I think for the very few bad apples you might get on your page, it would be easy to block those people. Because what are we up to on the old Modeler's Life podcast? We have, let's see, I think we're over 1,550, or we're right around 1,550 people, and I don't think I've really had hardly any problems with any having to block people or anything. In 4 years? I just don't think there's that many bad people out there that are interested in torpedoing your site.
No, I don't think so either.
And the thing of it is, as I continually tell you, and I pound it into Tom Jacobs' head, is people are really interested in what you're doing. And if you don't make it so that they can't get to it easily, they're not going to find it. And I think you're going to find that people are going to be really interested in what you're doing.
No, they are. I mean, we have 86 members right now as of today. We just got a new one today. Greg Antonuccio joined up today, so I think he's a podcast listener. But that's cool. He's in a few groups that I'm in, and he joined up today. We're up to 86. I'm not the only one who posts in the group. A bunch of people are contributing content, so it's really a cool discussion going on about a little podunk branch line between Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and Marshfield, Wisconsin.
Yeah, and you have a very your personality makes people want to be. I think you'll find if you just make it plain. You don't have to do everything my way, but I do believe if everybody did everything my way, the world would work a lot better, and I would be much happier.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Like, just do it Lionel's way and get it over with.
Yeah.
And your website. What's your website?
My website is, let me pull that up here, is cnwmarshlinesub.com.
CNW.
It's all one word.
Marshline Sub. I think I was there before, yes. Oh, yes, because the track plan is there. And this is
right.
And you made this website we talked about it earlier in the first half of the show. Yeah.
That's right.
People want to go to that.
With WordPress.
Yeah, you made it with WordPress, which I couldn't figure out. Yeah, I'm telling, this is a great website. You gotta, okay. I'm telling everybody, go to the website, go to the Facebook page. You're going to there's lots if you're trying to build a model railroad, this is the place to be. Man, this hobby is going to change. This hobby is going to explode.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is. All right, now let me see. What is the timer up to here? Man, almost a half an hour. We're going to have over an hour and a half of just Andy and Lionel talking about Andy's room. And it's going to be great stuff. October 22nd. I wonder what today is. So whoever's listening to this on the day it was released, you're either listening to it on the 22nd or you're listening to it next week on the 29th. So maybe if you're listening to it on the 29th, it's a peek into the future from the 22nd.
Yeah. Or you could listen to it on the 22nd and the 29th.
Whoa. That should make me put it out on the 22nd right there.
Yeah.
And now you know what it sounds like?
No.
A couple of guys that are really just slightly below average at broadcasting trying to fill airtime.
Yeah, that's the hint that I'm picking up here.
Yeah. Okay. And don't forget, as we said before, the Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10 doctors.
It's another Lincoln Homer.